This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. If it wasn't dangerous enough having Tommy Tuberville do what he's doing relative to our military, diminishing the power of our military, the effectiveness of our military, the good order and discipline, the morale of our military, the readiness of our military. If it weren't bad enough with him doing that while we are trying to support an ally in Ukraine, it is now becoming an untenable situation after Israel was attacked by Hamas over the weekend. You know, I'm hesitant to call people enemies of America. That's a Donald Trump tactic that I'm not a fan of. And I'm still hesitant in this moment to call Tommy Tuberville an enemy of America or an enemy of the American military. But it's becoming harder and harder for me to refrain from doing that because his actions are those of someone who is an enemy of American military readiness. His actions, his words, are those of someone who wants to stymie the strategic position of the United States on a global stage. Tommy Tuberville, near enemy of America. I'm going to read from this NBC News article entitled, "Senator Tommy Tuberville Won't Lift His Military Blockade Amid Israel-Hamas Conflict." For months, the Alabama senator who has his primary residence, doesn't even own a property, to my knowledge, in Alabama. He is a resident of Florida representing Alabama. Get that. That should always be a little asterisk next to it anytime you read that. For months, the Alabama Republican has held up more than 300 military nominees, including top officers who would command forces in the Middle East. The office of Senator Tommy Tuberville, the most military man on the planet, Republican of Alabama, said he isn't backing down on his months-long blockade of hundreds of military promotions, even amid Hamas's deadly attack on Israel, a close United States ally. The Pentagon clearly thinks forcing taxpayers to facilitate abortion is more important than confirming their top nominees without a vote. They could end this situation today by dropping their illegal and immoral policy and get everyone confirmed rapidly, but they refuse. Tuberville spokesperson Steve Stafford said in a statement to NBC News, quote, "If the Biden administration wants their nominees confirmed, then Senate Democrats can do what Coach just did in September and file a cloture petition to force a vote." The news was first reported by Politico, and Coach refers to Tuberville's past as a college football coach. Wildly qualified to be a United States senator, holding up promotions for hundreds of high-ranking military officers who could be leading in this moment. Hey, the football coach with a bachelor's degree in PE. Physical education. Intellectually incurious idiot, traitor, possible enemy of the United States, Tommy Tuberville. Hundreds have died in the ongoing battle Hamas launched against Israel over the weekend, with Hamas fighters having also taken a number of civilians and soldiers hostage. The State Department is working to verify reports that Americans were killed and taken hostage, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said Sunday on NBC News' Meet the Press. The Biden administration has stated its support for Israel, and as the conflict stretched into day 2, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin announced Sunday that the U.S. military is moving an aircraft carrier strike group and military aircraft closer to Israel as a show of support, and that it will also supply Israel with munitions and other military supplies as soon as possible. Tuberville's blockade has put a hold on at least 300 military nominees, including top officers who would command forces in the Middle East. He said his effort is in protest of the Defense Department's policy that gives time off and reimbursements for service members and their family members seeking abortions out of state. Reimbursements for travel. But because his particular flavor of religion forbids that, he wants to impose that on everyone else. That is what is called Christian nationalism. From the man who said white supremacists should serve in the military because you call them white supremacists, you call them white nationalists, I call them Americans. Diminishing our power and influence across the globe single-handedly, Tommy Tuberville. Democrats and the White House have condemned Tuberville's use of a procedural tactic to clog up the confirmation of military officials as a threat to the military's preparedness. He can't actually block the Senate from processing any promotion, but his hold has dramatically slowed a process that typically proceeds without votes. Tuberville and some Republicans have argued that Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer could call each one of the hundreds of nominations for individual votes, a process that would take hundreds of hours of floor time for each one. So you tell me, any Tommy Tuberville fans out there, tell me how Tommy Tuberville is not an enemy to the United States military. He is certainly an enemy to the readiness of our military. He is certainly an enemy to good order and discipline and the morale of the troops. He's endangering our position. He's endangering our allies' position. And yet he does it for his Christian nationalist worldview, which is becoming more and more and more dangerous as time goes on. This is why you don't elect stupid people to high office. This is why you don't reward football coaches with being United States senators who are beholden only to Donald Trump and chaos. What do you think? I'd love to know. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. You can email me, daily@dollemore.com. You can leave a comment below. That would be fantastic. It'll help YouTube recommend this channel to possible new viewers who could subscribe and then promote the message and grow. It's just the way it works. If you appreciate what I do, if I'm your flavor of political commentator, I would appreciate if you consider supporting my work. You can click the join button below, become a channel member for $2 a month, hit the super thanks button, or even better, go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. All those are great ways to help support what we do. Follow me on the social media. I am at Dollemore on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Facebook. You too, Tommy Tuberville. You can follow me. I don't know if I'm sick or this voice is just trying to, my own voice is a saboteur. Anyway, maybe I am sick. I will see you next time. I appreciate you. Thanks for joining me today. Be genuine. Take care of one another.